Force will be with you, always.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Star Wars Alliance podcast, part of the Grand Army of the Republic of your podcast networks, the Geek Ultimate Alliance podcast network, where you can find a bunch of other shows on the network for all your needs. You can find the link to the podcast in the description box below. I am your host, Katie Gilstrap, and with me today I have Nathan Odinson, who is a host of the DC Alliance podcast on the network, as well as the Super Civil Servants podcast. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Katie. How are you doing tonight on your inaugural episode of Star Wars Alliance?
I am excited. Beyond excited.
Good.
We have a lot of topics to discuss. There's been plenty of news since Star Wars Day. We're recording this on the 14th of May, so a month or so before this will air. So we've got that. We have some fun topics to kind of introduce y'all to me, to introduce you to Nate, because I'm hoping he's going to join me a lot. So make sure you pester him to come join me more. And then we do actually have one question. So I'm excited. Before we get into the things, I would just like to warn everyone that there are going to be ads in this podcast. So thank you for supporting us in advance.
And explicit language. Just be ready for it.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess let's get into it. First up, we have kind of Rebels live action, maybe?
Question mark?
Question mark? So we have rumors for Sabine. We have potential for Ahsoka. And then Rex. And Hera, I'm a little iffy on because of the sourcing on it.
Yes, me too.
And then we also have Bo-Katan. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the only one so far. Well, Katie Sackhoff has been confirmed to be reprising her. She does the voice role of Bo-Katan in Star Wars Clone Wars and Rebels, but she will get to play the live action version of Bo-Katan in season 2 of The Mandalorian. And while we're talking about actual confirmations, they have also confirmed that Tamar, the live action, the actor for Jango Fett.
Tamura Morrison.
Tamara Morrison, yeah, that's it. He is reprising his role as he will be playing Boba Fett. And there's also big rumors around they're all clones. If he's playing Boba Fett, we've got to get a live action Captain Rex, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the rumors of Ahsoka. I mean, I think that would be a missed opportunity, don't you?
I would definitely say that's going to happen. Yeah. Morrison has said in the past that he would love to play Rex. Mm-hmm. So, and you don't bring back someone who's like years removed from Star Wars just to have him play in one episode.
Yes,
right?
I wouldn't put it past them just because I will give Star Wars credit. They are good about if they're going to have your character that you've either played in live action or in voice and in some kind of bit role, they always call you to see if you want that bit role before they give it to somebody else or they change the character. So I will give them credit that I do think they would call him for one episode, but at the same time, I'm like you and I say, well, if he called and agreed to one episode, we'll see how far we can take this. Like, can we get him into a live action Rebels or another Ahsoka or something to where he can go off? Because I'm with you. I'm hoping that he signs on because I would love to see just Captain Rex in live action because he is one of my top 5 favorite Star Wars characters is Captain Rex, and if we got to see him in live action, I would just be tickled pink. I would like that more than the Boba Fett, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm iffy on Boba Fett coming back. That's just me. But because granted.
No, go ahead.
his return in the expanded universe was planned out, and so I would assume they're going to nitpick that from the expanded universe as well. Basically, like the Sarlacc pit takes 1,000 years to eat you. So in that point, the Beskar armor that he was wearing, which in this universe, I don't think he's supposed to be wearing Beskar.
The old expanded universe, I'm not sure about, and I don't know if they've changed it in the new canon. But my assumption is, with what we know about Beskar from the Mandalorian and just how strong it is, and how you can basically take a straight shot to the armor and not get killed, or a mud horn to your chest plate and not get killed.
Yeah,
I have to think they're going to go back and say that Boba Fett's, if they haven't said it, that his is old Beskar. Like maybe it's because you know how the Mandalorians they pass down their armor and they reforge it for the next generation stuff, and you keep the Beskar. I have gotta think that with the popularity and all that we learned about Beskar and like how powerful it is, I've got to think they're gonna say that's how Boba Fett got out of there, is that the Sarlacc tried to eat him, but it hit that armor and he fought his way tooth and nail out. I would think. I mean, I don't know. Like, we're not writers, but we both came to the same conclusion of like, okay, I can kind of see how he gets out of there. So I would think that they got to have either be thinking the same thing that we're thinking, or they're gonna melt our minds with something even cooler on how he got out. You know, maybe he went straight down and came out the other side. We don't know. He came out on the other side of Tatooine. He popped up on the other side on the portal. I don't know, but I do think it's kind of cool, because if I'm not like I said, Legends, I don't know much about, but don't they like make him? Don't they kind of redeem him in the Legends, and he becomes like a really good, like a character that people really like after he kind of comes out and redeems himself. That is what I've heard. I don't know. You know way more about Legends than I do.
So kind of, to an extent. He's still not great. But it does make it work. So there is that effect. He does go in and train Jaina Solo to defeat her brother, who, spoiler alert, becomes a Sith Lord.
Right. Well, with him being positively cast and Katie Stackhoff being like Star Wars come out, like they said that they're out there. I've got to think, and the Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka rumor came out, God, months ago, 2 months ago at this point, and then somebody asked her. And she said, "When that's confirmed, I would like to talk." I don't have the direct quote, but it was something of
it's basically like I can't talk about it right now.
Yes, yeah, that was what I implied. That was my what I inferred from it, is that she meant like as soon as it's confirmed, I'm ready to talk about it. And like you were saying earlier, with all this rumor coming, are we really gonna get a Rebels sequel series in live action? Because man, they're sort of sacking up the deck on that stuff of all these Rebels characters.
Yeah, it's really confusing to an extent.
I mean,
we heard rumors that they were going to have a sequel series to Rebels, because we're done with current animation. There's no Resistance, there's no Clone Wars, there's no Rebels. Mm-hmm. So it would make sense to kind of supplement with an animation. Mm-hmm. But we've heard nothing currently about having an animation.
Right. And with Lucasfilm art department, if we know anything from Clone Wars season 7, that final season, my God, they are on top of their game. I would think you make sure those people stay busy and get to work on another, because animated series, these CGI like animated series are a big part of Star Wars, and people love them. Like, I mean, Clone Wars and Rebels is all canon. There's some people that's their Star Wars is the animated universes. So I would think they're not going to leave that money on the table. Like, I think they realized Resistance was a swing and a miss. I mean, if you like Resistance, people, that's fine. Like, it was meant for a way younger generation. But I think personally they missed the mark because they aimed it at kids. Star Wars has never inherently been aimed. It's been for kids, but it's never inherently been for kids. There's always been stuff that adults could sit down and like about it too. Even with Clone Wars, there would be some kiddie stuff in there, but boy, it would get intense when they were, a clone would stand up and they just got shot in the head and he went down, or a Jedi got tortured to death, or even in Rebels, where they're they're blown, they're taking out TIE fighters, and they take that one ship, and their stormtroopers getting sucked out. Like they've always walked that edge, and Resistance went straight for Kid, and I think that really hurt. Say all this to say, I think they learned their lesson on that, and I don't think they're going to leave money on the table like that. I think we're going to get another CGI animated series, and it's going to be done with the same care and love as Clone Wars and Rebels, if I had to suspect. But like you said, that the rumor was that like maybe a season 5 of Star Wars Rebels. Well, yeah, if we're getting all these guys in The Mandalorian, is that going to be like a mini series maybe of live action? Or
and like
I'm so curious.
I don't think you're going to have 2 versions of Ahsoka out there at the same time. So, like, it doesn't make any sense for you to have Rosario come on and do Ahsoka when at the same time you're going to do
an animated.
Animated. I think that's... I love Ashley in the role. I wish she would have gotten a chance to do the live action completely. Mm-hmm. But I just think you're going to hurt more fans by not necessarily slapping Ashley in the face, by not letting her do Ashley live action, because Ashley has dead point said she'd love to do Ahsoka in live action. Granted, she might not be the best fit for it. I just think people love Ashley so much, and if you have both versions at the same time, you're really going to get a lot of fans who are going to be really angry about that.
Now here's also my speculation, because like I was telling you right before we started recording, the WWE wrestler Sasha Banks, legal cousin of Snoop Dogg, as she said last year that like, and there was it wasn't like a quiet thing, but it was a thing, and they were like, oh, she got cast in a part for an episode of The Mandalorian, and everybody just immediately thought, maybe like a bounty hunter or just a background character or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, she's a popular wrestler, but she's not. As far as I know, this would be her first acting gig. So I'm not saying, so people weren't thinking anything of it. And now that we get this going, she is the exact body type and build, and even down to the purple hair and skin complexion of Sabine Wren.
Yep.
Now, what if maybe this episode of The Mandalorian, he needs help, okay? And let's just say the remaining, because we know Zeb is off with Callus, and and through that nebula or whatever in his new homeworld. Ezra and Thrawn are gone. Yeah. Kanan's dead. Spoiler alert, guys. But what if the remainders of the Rebel crew, Hera, Jason at this point, Ahsoka, Rex, Sabine, Chopper even, they have to help out the Mandalorian. And then this is how we go into, and we pick up the pieces from the epilogue of Rebels, and we get the hunt for and we get the search for Ezra. What if it's Rosario Dawson? And I mean, like I said, she's not known for her acting, but what if she really impressed them and Sasha Banks plays Sabine, and we get the live action version of them going into the Outer Rim looking for Ezra and Thrawn? That's a huge possibility that's on the table. So like you said, you don't have two Ahsokas, because you don't do another animated series where she can pop up in there. You do, you set this one off where, boom, she's off on her way, and we can have a mini series, maybe a Disney Plus movie about it. Maybe they start that out. Maybe they do
that's a really good idea.
Movie.
Honestly.
Where it's like that, and you put the feeler out there, and you do your little 2-hour, you do not little. You put the same love and care. Obviously, you put the same love and care and money in it as you do these series, The Mandalorian, but do like a little, maybe for a tester, just do that movie, and then you can do a trilogy on there or spin it into a series. Because we do know that they are focusing heavily on Disney Plus and bringing in content. And they are not shy about the money with it. So that's just a theory that I had, because like you said, that's with all the rumors of all the rest of the Rebels left, like I can't see Hera just strapping 6-year-old or 7-year-old Jason and just taking him into the fight the whole time, you know what I mean? And then they can't bring, I don't know, I just kind of see maybe
it doesn't make any sense.
Mando needs a little help. Yeah, maybe he needs a little help, and then after that, Hera goes back to raise Jason. Rex goes back into retirement, or maybe, fingers crossed, Rex goes with Ahsoka and Sabine and just goes with them to deep space because he's got nothing left. But with the remnants of them left over, I don't see why, in the popularity of Ahsoka and even Sabine, I don't see why you would,
Yeah.
if you're going to have him cast as live action, like, let's go. Let's do a real live action.
Well, and I mean, so he's part of the guild now. He's rejoined the Bounty Hunters Guild.
This is true.
What if not saying Sabine or Hera, if Hera really does come back, or
right?
What if
that's the one I'm most iffy about? But yeah, I'm with you.
So what if one of those is like under a bounty or something, and that's how they kind of pull each other in?
Ooh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, like Grief Karga gets some word out. Hey, there's a bounty out there, easy money for you. Or maybe, hey, there's a real dangerous person out there, and I think you're the only person for it. You know, you and Cara Dune go out there and wrangle this person up to make money for your search for, little baby Yoda homeworld.
Yeah, and then so maybe it's Rex, and then they find Ahsoka and Sabine with Rex. Maybe they're already together.
I know we're writing, this really good epic story in our head. We say all of this out of speculation, but this is what I like about Star Wars is the possibilities are just like I know you can do that with most franchises, but this universe we can literally fly like we could literally have. Because here's my speculation on the next animated series, or maybe it's just what I'm trying to will into the universe. So I'll say it here, so maybe we can will it into the universe. You've got Mark Hamill sitting right there, like world-renowned voice actor, known for working with his voice along with being Luke Skywalker. Let's put those together because I'm sure they can do something to make him sound younger, and let's get a series set in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and give me like 10-year-old Ben Solo as his Padawan. Like, we don't even have to start right after Return of the Jedi. Let's have him have his temple kind of set up, but like the adventures of the original trilogy cast, and also like Luke Skywalker and Ben Solo, like training them until the eventual angry old man Luke bringing the house down on his nephew thing.
Yeah, it's all well said and done, but definitely after Mark Hamill's latest Twitter, so he likes to go through and do funny May the Star Wars stuff every day of May, obviously. And so he said This is the May. On May the 9th, he specifically said, may the 9th Star Wars movie be the last time I ever play Luke Skywalker.
Oh, Mark, don't crush my dreams.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I just think that that's prime real estate, and the only holdup I have with that, and I know he's not like is Dave Filoni is a huge reason the Clone Wars and Rebels were so successful, and he was producer only in name on Resistance, and we kind of see what happens there. What I'm getting at is I would like Dave Filoni to have some influence, or Tony Gilroy, or whoever he worked on Rebels and Clone Wars with that is capable of helming it and giving the same kind of love and attention to detail, because Dave Filoni is a huge part of why this animated stuff works and this on TV stuff is working, because the man puts love and passion in there, and I think he needs to have a voice in the next animated series, or someone that worked closely with him that knows the style and helped build the other two series. Yep. You know what I mean? Because if there's anything that the Disney, the Mandalorian gallery taught us, is that Dave Filoni is the mother effing goat, and he needs to have input or at least be consulted on stuff.
Yep, I absolutely agree.
But what would you prefer? Let me ask you this: would you prefer to have the let's just say a continuation of Rebels with you have the Hera and Jade and them guys in there, or would you like it to be just maybe a one-off episode like we were speculating of a bounty, whatever, but it brings the crew together, and then after that it spins off into a live-action Ahsoka and Sabine going off, or would you prefer that in animation, like the epilogue of Rebels suggests?
I would just prefer it in live action. I think Star Wars has got to move more towards a live action kind of feel, especially with not having movies to go towards the next couple of years, because at this point with coronavirus, you're not going to have any Star Wars movies until I would say probably 2024, 2025 at the earliest. I know Taika's movie that he was announced for, supposed to be theatrical, didn't have a release date attached to it. But at this point, that's the only movie we've got on our radar. I mean, I know Rian Johnson's supposed to have a trilogy, but
Well, remember Kevin Feige's supposed to have a movie produced. Now I wonder if the Taika Waititi
Don't get
Kevin
me started
Feige.
on Kevin Feige.
Well, I'm just saying. I want to know if that's the one if that project's one and the same, because they had announced that Kevin Feige was going to produce a Star Wars film, and now like we know that Taika Waititi has been announced as it's official. Star Wars actually announced that. It's not rumors.
Yeah.
It's not it's not Kathleen Kennedy just firing shit off the hip and whatever. Like that comes from them. So I'm wondering if the Feige and Waititi project are one and the same, or if Feige's has slowly moved away from it. Because boy, in the last 5 or 6 years, Star Wars has went through some creative heads, whether it be directors, writers, announced projects, folded projects. They have had a little bit of a. They've had some home runs in there, but they have had some rocky ups and downs.
But the one thing that has been consistent has been The Mandalorian coming to live action. And I don't know if maybe it's because it was the first live action TV series we've seen from Star Wars. Maybe it's because of that.
Really, if you want to go backtrack, really no, because James Mangold was supposed to do a Mandalorian movie back when this was all in the projects. It was announced that was going to happen.
Oh, yeah, he was supposed to be a Boba Fett movie.
And then they were like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this live action TV series, because there was a lot of concepts that were one and the same. So they were like, we're not going to do a movie and then a series. I don't know. Their track record has been shaky a little bit lately. Like The Mandalorian, yes, that's their rock right now, and they're leaning on it, and as they should, because man, that's like a Star Wars movie in your house every week, and I love it, and we need more of that. I'll take anything from the galaxy far, far away. Almost, I mean, and not to like. I mean, I'll even take, as much as I don't like The Last Jedi, I will take another Rian Johnson movie as long as it's set away from character. He just can't. I personally would not like him to touch any more of the characters that I've come to know, because me personally, I don't think he understands them, gets them, or even cares what came before it, as long as he makes a movie. But take his sensibilities, throw me, you're subverting expectations and you're right and left in the galaxy far, far away. But somewhere I'm with some people I've never even met, so I don't care about them. Sorry, that was my little high horse there I'm on. But either way, I'm just saying I'm all there for Star Wars, whatever they're going to give it live. Was it this week? The Cassian Andor series went on a tirade.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They've got Mon Mothma.
Yeah, Mon Mothma's coming back. Bail
Organa.
Emmy Smith is coming back. I can't remember the Mon Mothma lady, the actress's name. I forget. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. I can't remember her name. But I'm so glad that she's coming back, because it's perfect. She's like the fulcrum. Like, she is like the fulcrum here. I mean, she's pulling all of them together, but you know what I mean? Like, she is basically like the fulcrum point, helping wrangle all these guys up and getting these cells. Like, she's commanding this shit. So she needs to be there. And then you got Bail Organa, perfect, because he would help set everything up. Like, this is shaping up to be, like, this is going to feel Star Wars. But, we're going to, I'm getting more and more interested in every new casting announcement that we hear.
Yep.
Because you have, what's his, from Marvel, Skarsgård. Stellan Skarsgård. Yeah. That's going to be, he's an Imperial, right? Like, he's just got the look of an Imperial.
Yeah. Don't you think, like, say he's an Imperial?
Yeah, he's like a Moth or a he's an Admiral or something. Like, he's got the look of the bad guy. I would think he's going to be our oh shit guy.
Mm-hmm. So I've said this before, but I'll say it now for all the new listeners. I really hope that the Cassian Andor series is gonna turn out to be a fulcrum series. I think it'd be really cool. You could tie in Rosario there as a live action Ahsoka. You could pull Chris Evans in for what's his name from Rebels?
Callus.
Yeah.
You give the
Infinity Chris Evans in for Callus.
Chris Evans from Infinity War with the longer hair and the beard, the mutton chops and all chopped out. That is a dead ringer for Callus, season 3 and season 4 of Rebels. Like, let's do it. Come on, get in there, Chris. You can be Callus. Let's do this.
It's just the perfect opportunity to do it. Like, they're all there.
That reminds me, you brought that up. That brought it in my mind is that the rumor was that when this all came out, that Rosario Dawson was going to appear. They had in her contract to appear in multiple shows.
Yeah.
So, like, to kind of like, so there's, I think you could be onto something with her showing up in an episode of the Cassian series and maybe passing on the fulcrum or giving him critical information, and even the Obi-Wan series, because it's right in that same time frame. Who's to say that she didn't in the time that Obi-Wan was there, the only thing we know he did was cut Maul down. Like, at one point in time, like who's to say that Ahsoka after all this didn't come and find him after Rex and her split up? Maybe Kenobi helped her and Rex find places to hide out on, or you know what I mean? Because like they just either way, like the possibilities are endless. But they said that the rumor is that she's got in her contract to jump multiple shows, almost like her character did, the Night Nurse on the Marvel Netflix universe, where she jumped from show to show to show, which I think would just be kind of hilariously perfect because she's used to doing that shit.
Yep, absolutely. I think she'd be perfect for the role, and she stated even before all the rumors came out that she'd love to play Ahsoka in live action.
Yeah, she's been trying to will that into existence for years now. Like, and I'm with her. Go, girl. Like, let's get it. I can't wait for them to. I can't wait for the first picture of it because she's got the right build and right complexion, and like it would like even her face. Like they'll barely have to exaggerate it to make her look Ahsoka like. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how they would do it. I'm not a magician like those guys. I don't know if they do prosthetics or whatever, but just to kind of make her eyes a little bit. But she's got like whenever they said that, like I could picture the head tails on her, and with some lightsabers. Be like, I'm like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot about all the Kazian, the announcements coming through. So they are making some real progress on that series, which is good. Yeah, which is so good. That has, because me personally, out of the Disney era Star Wars, besides if we're talking about movies, Rogue One is my personal favorite, and I feel the pinnacle of Disney's effort in the live action business. Because man, it's just a really beautifully shot movie, good story. It's just a good Star Wars story, in my opinion.
Yep.
Hey, I'll stop rambling now. You got more to say?
No, actually, I don't. Yeah, at this point, by the time people hear this, you're gonna be here. It's a little old news, but hey, we love Star Wars. This is what we're here for. So, if we missed anything, definitely let us know on Twitter, and we'll come back to it.
Absolutely. I'm always down to talk Star Wars.
So at this point,
here's a word from our sponsors.
So now we're kind of going to talk a little bit about why we love Star Wars, what got us into it. So Nate, why don't you start us off?
All right. So my origin story, I'll try to keep it brief, but it had to be, I think it was 94, 95 when they released the VHS trilogy box set of Star Wars. And I remember being at my aunt's house one day, and she's always had movies. She always took me to the movies. Like, that was our thing. We watched movies. God, I was 9 or 10, 8, 9, some of them there, like 9 or 10. And I just remember looking over one day and I saw this black shiny box. And I want to say it was like the Death Star was on the outside of it. And I said, what is that? And she goes, oh, what's that? She goes, that's Star Wars. And I said, what's Star Wars? And her face lit up. And she hands me the box set, and I pull it out, and A New Hope's got Vader's face on it, and on the slip cover. And then on the second, on Empire, it's Yoda's. And then on Return of the Jedi, it's a Stormtrooper helmet. And I got like so excited to watch these. And it was about time for my mom and stepdad to come get me. And my stepdad comes in, and he goes, what do you got there? And I said, I showed it to him, and his eyes lit up. And my aunt let me take it home. And later on that night, my stepfather and I sat down on the couch, and we watched the first movie, A New Hope. And I freaking loved it. And the next morning, I begged him to sit down before we did anything else. We watched the next 2 movies. And after that, like I was in there. Jedi, I was all about it. I wanted to be a Jedi, all that stuff. So like that was my fandom. And then that's the start of my fandom. And then the first special edition came in 97, I want to say. 97. And my same aunt took me with it. And seeing Star Wars on the big screen, especially I loved it. And I watched the other 2 following movies, whenever they were released. And then I remember 1999, The Phantom Menace. And I remember all the trailers. Like, God, those are some great trailers. You want to watch some good trailers? Watch the Phantom Menace trailers. That's so good. But I can remember going in 99 on opening night, and just the energy and the feel. And I was a part of brand new Star Wars. Like, I was there. I was a part of the new stuff. You could just feel the energy. And man, ever since then, I've seen every one of them in theaters, and it was like I loved it. I love Attack of the Clones. I remember sitting in theaters when that was over and being like, I want to be like Anakin, only I don't care about sand, and I want to have a princess or a queen turned senator turned, like in this little beautiful getaway on Naboo and stuff, and like, just so dumb. But anyway, like I still love that movie. And Revenge of the Sith, like I loved it all. And then my fandom kind of faded away because I got into my later teens. Not faded away, it was there, but my later teens, my 20s, and I was more worried about drinking beer and chasing girls than I was anything else. And then, what was it? I missed the whole run, the whole TV run of Clone Wars while it was actually going. But let's see, it hit Netflix in 2014, I want to say. And when it hit Netflix, like I just casually just stumbled upon it and hit that. And from watching the movie and then jumping into episode 1, like it just, like the little burning coal of Star Wars fandom that I still had because I'd watch the movies if I saw them on TV or this and that. Once watching the Clone Wars again, just woof, erupted it. And ever since then, like I've been full aboard because soon after that it was Force Awakens was coming out. Yeah. I mean, we've just been neck deep in it all then, and I'm just like it just erupted back up, and now I'm even in there, and I got all the visual guides and dictionaries, and I just love all the little nuggets and audio books. I'm in there, Katie. I'm in there. I love it. I love it. And that was my long, brief entryway kind of origin story into Star Wars. And now I would like to hear yours.
So mine's a little different. I saw A New Hope first, and I loved it. And then I saw Attack of the Clones. No, I'm sorry. I saw 4, 5, and 6 because I knew Luke and Leia were brother and sister. And then I saw Attack of the Clones. And I was like, why are Luke and Leia kissing right now? Like in the final scene. Because I was like 8 at the time. And so I had no idea that there was this thing like, oh yeah, we went 20 years back in the past.
Yeah, that's their mom and dad. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my experience. And then after I figured it out, I was about 14 or 15. And then I started to get more into writing. And so I actually was writing a Star Wars fan fiction about what happened after Return of the Jedi. And I wanted to do some research. So I asked my mom to order me Children of the Jedi, which is an expanded universe novel. It's still one of my favorite to this day. However, if you ask anyone else, they will call me crazy because they think it's one of the weirdest. And I kind of fell in love after that. It's where Luke Skywalker basically meets this woman in a computer and falls in love and tries to get her out.
Sounds kind of 2020, actually.
So, at that point, I kind of was like, ooh, this is really interesting. Like, I want to know where it ends up. And so then I kind of just started picking up expanded universe novels. And my collection is still vast. I still have all of the ones that I have picked up. And I never wrote a fan fiction again. I have no idea where that fan fiction ended up. I'm kind of glad that I have no idea where it is. Somewhere.
I would love to read that. I love to see just all the weird stuff you got Han and Leia doing.
Actually, it was all about no, because I had no idea who Mara was at the time.
Oh.
So it was purely Luke Skywalker and then original characters that were his new Jedi trainees. So yeah, that's what happened there.
Wow, so really your love came from the writing aspect and diving all into the expanded universe and the novels then. Well, I mean, you like the movies, obviously, to keep your interest.
I like the movies enough to go, okay, yeah, I'd really love to know more of what happened. And I thought I was the only one because we didn't have the internet at this point, or I wasn't allowed to have the internet at this point. So
right.
I was like, okay, well, let me tell my side of the story of what I think happens next. And so then that's when I asked my mom if anyone else had written anything because I was having writer's block. So then she did find out there was more. So yeah, that's kind of how I fell in love with Star Wars. And Mara Jade is still to my favorite day. My favorite character. I don't care what George Lucas says, though I am curious. I've never actually looked into why he doesn't like her. That would be the one question I would ask him. Would be, why didn't you like Mara Jade? I hope she comes to live action. She doesn't have to be Luke's wife or Luke's bae or whatever. I just want her back so bad.
From the nuggets of information I picked up about her, with never actually reading her, she sounds like a cool and interesting character, and I think you could bring her in without Luke. But at the same time, like I think somebody for like something like that for you, you'd be like, oh, like I wish you could at least meet Luke in the Force or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, so she was actually part of the Hand group, which basically turned into the Inquisitors in current canon. So you could have her be like a sister or something, and her last command from Palpatine was to go kill Luke Skywalker. Like, she was assassinating some governor, or I can't remember exactly what happened, but she went to go kill this guy, and then the Emperor dying in Return of the Jedi basically sent out this command to her that said, Luke Skywalker has killed me. You must take your revenge.
Damn, so she was like a sleeper agent then, like some old school Russian spy shit.
Yeah, so you can actually they took her appearance from a dancer in Jabba's palace. She's got red hair. She was good at sneaking into places. So, yeah. And then she becomes a smuggler after that. She had encounters with Lando. She didn't have to be married or fall in love with Luke Skywalker to be who she is. So.
Right. So that's
So who's your favorite character, since I just went off on mine?
My favorite character is the chosen one himself, Anakin Skywalker, all the way through to Vader, because that's the same character. Like, it's Anakin, good, his dark, it's all of it. It's Anakin Skywalker, hands down, the chosen one. He is the one that brought balance to the Force. I don't know what that thief Rey did, in the sequel trilogy, besides stealing, Anakin's lightsaber and Luke's homestead and their brother-in-law's Falcon, and then all the way down to stole everything from the Skywalkers. But that's neither here nor there. But no, Anakin Skywalker is my favorite.
Yes.
I mean, Anakin. Yeah, if I got to keep going, I mean, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Rex.
Yep.
God, there's just a plethora of great characters. I like Padme. I know that's not a popular answer. People don't really like. I like Count Dooku is one of my all-time favorites. I love Count Dooku, and I know that's not popular. Maul. I mean, with just everything we know about him now from the animated series and stuff. Jesus, if Maul hasn't become one of somebody's favorite character, I mean, I don't. Like, wow, bravo what they did with that character, from just looking cool as hell in Phantom Menace and not saying anything, getting cut in half, to bringing him back and being just one of the best parts about both animated series. That's something I would have never thought of.
Yep. Well, so you said Padme. I actually fell more in love with her character after the Clone Wars, and then after E.K. Johnston's Queen Shadow book, which is talking about the canon aspects of Padme transitioning from Queen to Senator. So in between the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, it kind of gets into there. It plays into the Rush Clovis aspect just a little bit.
Interesting.
So that was fun. And then, fun fact, I actually got a sneak peek of the new Padme book, Queen's Peril, also by EK. So I got to read that. It actually
sorry.
No, I wanted to talk about it.
I know, I'm just giving you shit.
No, so it came out as of this release date. It came out on June 4th. So everyone can kind of go read it now. But it goes into kind of the behind the scenes of before the Phantom Menace, from Padme's angle, her election to queen, all the handmaidens being trained, and then it goes through the Phantom Menace. But it actually kind of hits all the points. It talks about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's relationship a lot better than the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan book by Claudia Gray. And it goes into Maul's perspective about how he feels like he's kind of on the edge out. And then the fight sequences, Maul planning where he's going to do the duels. The Duel of Fates.
In Queen's Shadow it is? That's all
it goes through it in Queen's Peril.
Queen's Peril,
okay. Queen's Shadow... Queen's Peril is a prequel to Queen's Shadow. So...
Oh, okay.
Queen's Peril actually made me like The Phantom Menace a lot more than I already did. And I've never been a huge prequel hater. Like, The Phantom Menace isn't one of my favorites, but it's Star Wars. I always loved it. But it actually helped me understand The Phantom Menace a lot better, as well as Dave Filoni's perspective in the Mandalorian documentary episode 2.
The Gallery. Yeah. Spoiler alert / hot take. Prequel trilogy all day over the sequel trilogy. I'm throwing up the greater than sign. I'm gonna go as far as to say Attack of the Clones is greater than all 3 of the sequel movies combined, and I know that's not a popular opinion, but that is the truth. So, whatever.
So that's a great opportunity to lead us into the question that we had today from I'm gonna butcher your name, so I'm just gonna say username
D.
at the Great Picnic. D.
It's I think, and heaven forbid, please forgive me, D, if I butcher it. I want to say it's pronounced Delizo. I want to say that, and I hope I'm saying that right. And if not, he can do an internet reach to the internet and punch me in the throat, because I'm sorry, but I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, he will not mind if we call him D.
Okay, D. Don't punch me, please, because I wasn't even subscribed. So I'm sorry. But he asked us, give us your true feelings on Skywalker Saga. So, Nate,
you want me to come first because I'm bringing the fire?
Yeah, and I'll kind of
okay.
hit home with the positivity.
Okay, because the Skywalker Saga ended after Return of the Jedi, because that's when, because Anakin's the motherfucking chosen one. It's always been his goddamn story. The Maker himself has said it's been that story. I don't give a shit what the agenda or fucking the story group or whoever the fuck came up with the sequel trilogy shit. I'm not a Rey hater. I like Rey, but I think it should have been, and I love Ben Solo, but I think it should have been a what's next in there, and not bring back fucking Palpatine at the end to be like, oh no, we're still doing this story, so it's Anakin the Chosen One, psych, we're wrong. And they throw in that little bullshit line of bring balance to the Force like I did. Shut up. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you brought balance to the Force. They should have never brought Palpatine back. So the Skywalker Saga ended after Return of the Jedi, and it only consists of 6 movies and the Clone Wars and Rebels, and it's that fucking fantastic. Now, that's not to say that there isn't some good stuff in the sequel trilogy. Once in The Rise of Skywalker, I really did like it when we finally got our main trilogy characters together. Poe, Finn, Rey all together with the droids and shit. I really enjoyed their chemistry. I wish we would have gotten more of that in the trilogy, and I wish it would have been a fucking relay race, which is why it fucking diminishes the Skywalker Saga, in my opinion. Even though there's some great characters in there, and I know Ben Solo, he's technically a Skywalker, carried it through. But for me, the Skywalker Saga ended at Return of the Jedi when Anakin completed it and was the chosen one and did what he was supposed to do. And like I said, there's some good stuff in the sequels, but there was some major fumbling and mishandling. And the shitty part about it is there's nothing we can do about it. You got to try to. They're going to spend years. A guy like Dave Filoni is going to spend years trying to make the sequel trilogy work and tie into it, which he should, because that's what he's good at. But until we get an animated series to help flesh that out a little bit or something, or some books in there, to me right now the Skywalker Saga ended at Return of the Jedi, and then we had 3 other movies that had some cool visual effects and shit. But that's my personal take. I'm just saying. I know it's probably not a popular opinion, and who knows? In 5 years, I could come to love the sequels even more. I don't know, but right now, that's how I feel. All right, sorry. If there's anybody left, listening that I didn't piss off, what about you, Katie?
So I actually, I'm kind of neutral on the sequel trilogy. There's aspects I like, there's aspects I don't like. I actually really love The Last Jedi and what it did for Luke's character, and then the rebound effect that came in The Rise of Skywalker. I do agree that there was a hot mess in the relay race aspect. I wish from the bottom of my heart that Rian Johnson had been the one to kind of take the 9th movie and go from there. But I think they saw the hate, like Kathleen Kennedy and Bob and everyone kind of saw the hate that The Last Jedi was getting and said, no, we need to go a safer approach. I think Ryan could have carried it a lot better as well. Like, I
think no, I don't disagree with you. I think that I just think they should have stuck to their guns and let Colin Trevorrow do what he was doing, just from the concept of stuff that we know. So I just wanted to interject that. They should have let him do what he was doing, because everything that we saw from his art of and what we know from his story was going to be a direct follow-up from The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. And I don't think things would have felt so disconjointed. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Go.
No, you're good.
I just wanted to interject that before.
I also think Colin would have been a good choice based on what we've seen. However, with the general decision to let him go, sadly, Ryan really should have picked it back up. But I think JJ did the best with what he had, especially with Carrie's passing. The book, the novelization for The Rise of Skywalker does a lot better job than the movie does at kind of tying things up in a better bow. But that's also because the book was able to give Leia a better role, and it didn't seem as choppy, especially in the beginning. Yeah.
And a mouth kiss of gratitude. What's up?
I have no idea what that means.
Yes, in the book, she says Rey didn't kiss Ben out of love, or it was out of gratitude, because that's how I do it. When I go to the bar, I tip my waitress with a kiss on the mouth of gratitude. No, that's not how that fucking works. Sorry, that was my one irk with the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker. She says that when Rey and Ben Solo kiss, it was a kiss of gratitude. Gross. Get out of here. Grow up. Commit to it. That was a kiss of love. You should have went one way or the other. Commit. goddammit. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm stepping all over you again. Go ahead. I'm gonna shut up.
Why don't I remember that? I'm like pulling up the novelization now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, she said that Rey can kiss. She kissed Ben not out of love, out of gratitude. What? Get out of here.
Okay, wait. I've got to find this now. This is gonna bug the crap out of me.
It makes me want to go over to my shelf and pick my book up and start flipping through my pages.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's in there. I know it's in there. If you can't find it now, maybe that'll be
I've got it already.
Follow-up. Okay, I was gonna say. Gross. Kiss of gratitude.
Yep, you're right. A kiss of gratitude, acknowledgement of their connection, celebration that they'd found each other at last.
Gross.
Oh.
That's not what that happens.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that might be the one
if my wife's working with a partner at work and they do like really good, or like they beat their rate or whatever, they go and they give like a mouth kiss of gratitude, I'm gonna have a goddamn problem. Okay, like we're gonna have a fucking problem. So I don't want to hear that nonsense.
So I like the last bit of it where she said a celebration of their connection.
Sure.
But granted, I didn't want them to kiss in general. I wanted Kylo to die and be done with it. But that's a topic.
I wanted them to get to third base. But I mean, I'm just saying.
I was not a fan of his redemption.
Whatever. I'm Team Ben Solo all the way. Okay, can we agree though? Can we agree that the actual Adam Driver and Kylo Ren were the best part of the sequel trilogy? I think he was the best part of all three movies. Yes. Honestly. Or if you had to look at the whole, I think Adam Driver as Kylo Ren was the best and most consistent, and in my eyes, like the savior of the sequel. And Daisy Ridley comes in at a close second, but Adam Driver, you could tell Adam had been working for a while. You know what I mean? Like Daisy's coming into her own now. But you know what I mean? Like, if you got to put him on a tier, Adam Driver, his Kylo Ren is something that will last, or, / Ben Solo will last through, and people will remember that. Like that, no matter what anything else or what happens, like, time people, Kylo Ren, you remember him? Because Adam Driver does such a great job of going through there and just bringing that character to life. Sorry, I side tangent again. I don't even.
No, you're good. I would kind of agree with you. I would say Adam, and then I would put actually Daisy and Oscar on the same tier. I think Daisy was a little choppy in The Last Jedi. Oscar's passion for the character, especially with the fact that he was supposed to originally die in the opening scene of The Force Awakens, like, and just him saying, no, I think this character needs to go further. Like, I think that tops everything, and Oscar kind of killed it with this role.
What? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that only makes it more sadder that he is consistently and numerous times emphatically said he is done with Star Wars. I think he's going to be the next Harrison Ford. Like, don't even talk to him about Star Wars for at least 25 years.
Which is so sad.
Right.
But I mean, it is what it is.
I like the Finn character too, but come on, like, we all know the only thing Finn did consistently through all three movies was scream everybody's name. Ray, Poe, just any Rose, and just any name he just screamed. That's all he did. Just watch. There is a super cut on YouTube of only Finn going through all three movies screaming, and I shit you not, it's like 3 minutes long or 2 minutes long. It's a long amount of time of just cutting together screaming names together, and it just make you go, really? Like, they thought that's all that John Boyega could do?
Yeah, and John Boyega was done a disservice.
Yes, because if you've watched Pacific Rim Uprising, that's the character that Finn should have been. Like,
I haven't seen that yet.
Well, not okay. Like, in the beginning, he's kind of like a party guy, but like when he stops, like when he with the call to action, he finally accepts it and goes. Like, the character, the way he portrays that, because like he's in the military there with the Jaegers and stuff, but like the way he portrays the character, because he's still kind of fun loving and stuff, but he's a badass and he takes care of shit. Like, I think that would have been a perfect way for that. Now, it wasn't all his fault, but for him to portray Finn. Like, if they would have just let him be a little more John Boyega. And that guy's charismatic. Look at him on social media and stuff. And like, when he did, man, that dude is charismatic. He's quick. He's sharp. He's funny. Yeah. They should have let a little more of that bleed into Finn on screen, in my opinion.
Yep.
Gwendolyn Christie as Phasma, fucking great looking character. Waste of a hell of a talented actress, though. Especially if anybody's seen Game of Thrones. How are you gonna put Brienne of Tarth underneath that helmet and not let her do anything? Because we know that she can swing a sword and stuff. Yep. Like, she should have had a little more to do. I love the look of it, though, and she should have been able to talk a little more because we know she's a good actress. Now look, I'm just sitting here bashing on the sequel trilogy. Sorry, it's not what I wanted to do. I got on a side tangent. Like I said, just cut my mic off, okay? Just cut my mic off when you're tired of hearing me.
If anyone wants more background into Phasma's character, I really loved the book by Delilah Dawson.
Is it good?
It's one of my favorite books that's come out of canon. Like,
really?
So probably all of the character-focused books have been some of the best. Thrawn, not so much. We can get into that a different day.
Oh my God. The first Thrawn book from 2015, I love that book 3 times. I love the new Thrawn trilogy, but at the same time, like we said before, I don't have the perspective of you with the old Thrawn Legends. I love Thrawn from the books and from Rebels. I love that character.
Legends Thrawn is amazing. But I'm glad Timothy got to come back and write him. Like, I do appreciate them saying, no, yes, we want to bring Timothy back and recreate this character. Like, that
should have went. Yes.
Yes. So, anyways, back to the Skywalker Saga.
Yeah, shit, that's where we went. Wow.
Squirrels.
That's right.
We need a Star Wars squirrels term. Anyways, we'll figure that out for next episode.
What are they? Monkey lizards? What are they called? I can't think of the name, damn it.
Oh, gosh.
Whatever. Chasing salacious bee crumbs. How about that? That's what we're chasing.
We will have a proper term next episode, I promise.
Right.
So the Skywalker Saga, I'm kind of neutral on the sequel trilogy, like I said. Original trilogy is great. I would probably rank it number 1. And then prequel trilogy, I'd probably rank it. Right now, I'd say prequels over sequels. That does change for me from time to time. However, with that being said, The Last Jedi, what The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker did for Luke's character, kind of giving him that finite arc, they have to kind of rank in the top movies. Trilogy-wise, it's last right now. But carrying Luke Skywalker's arc, they rank up there for me. So
I would be so bold as to say the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy outranks the sequel trilogy. But hey, what do I know? I mean, that's just,
which I haven't seen that either.
Well, that's hilarious. You got to see that. But I will say, as much as people shit on either one or the other of these new ones, because you're either Team Last Jedi and Rian Johnson, or you're Team, JJ and Rise of Skywalker, or whatever. You know what I mean? Fucking divide. But I will say, for me personally, as someone who didn't necessarily care for some of the story beats in The Last Jedi, I will say that the Rise of Skywalker made Luke a better for me from that movie. Like, to me, Rise of Skywalker did make The Last Jedi a little better. I mean, of course, it made, or it tried to make The Force Awakens even better, because obviously that's where he picked up. But I'm just saying, for me personally, there were stuff, and because I tried to be open to that. The Rise of Skywalker did make some of the stuff and the character beats and decisions from The Last Jedi better, specifically with Luke. After like what he says when he talks to Rey on the log and stuff, like if we take it as even though I don't like the shoulder toss of the saber and all that, but if you take just what Luke says in words, like just his words and him talking to Yoda and stuff, and then you apply it with just the stuff that he says with Rey there, like you can. Like, that's a good little character moment, like character little arc there. So I can see, I don't necessarily like how it was executed in Return of the Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker it was a bit clumsy too. But I'm just saying, if you just the words that they were saying, you know what I mean, and read book, like that's a pretty good lesson, and like that's a good little. I say all this to say that like it actually did. Rise of Skywalker did make The Last Jedi a little better for me. And I can watch all because I have to. Like I can watch it, I can watch the trilogy now back to back, because like I said, I'm not a Last Jedi fan, although I will give it credit for being one of the most gorgeous Star Wars movies with cinematography. Yeah, with the way the cinematography is and the way the colors pop and the darks and the red, like it's good. And that throne room scene, hey, I mean, for Star Wars, that was the shit. Come on, what we talk about? You can't lie, guys. Even Last Jedi haters like that. You can, but come on, you're lying to yourself. You gotta love that throne room scene.
So,
and Yoda, who the fuck hates Yoda? Sorry. Now look, I just want to praise some stuff about it. Okay, I'm trying to go back. But as much as I don't like the movie, you gotta love Yoda. Like, for everything I say about Rian Johnson, specifically, I'll take responsibility. I will give credit for bringing Yoda back on screen and making me, oh Yoda. You know what I mean? All right. So sorry. Now finish your thoughts on the Skywalker Saga.
So I kind of like to think of the sequel trilogy as The Force Awakens was Han's movie. It said, "Screw it, we're just gonna go with it." It felt like home because we all know that Han kind of liked feeling in place. It felt a lot like A New Hope. It brought fans back. It brought new fans in because it was comfortable. And Han never liked being uncomfortable with where he was. Luke, I always thought of Luke as an artistic character, and kind of The Last Jedi kind of went with that. And we know from Kathleen Kennedy's perspective, that each film was kind of supposed to represent an original character. Yeah. Original trilogy character. So Luke was kind of the highlight of The Last Jedi, but the film looked like him. It was uncomfortable. It said, I've got to go and push boundaries. And The Rise of Skywalker, I never knew how it was going to play out. I kind of said it's been several things over the years, but as we have it now, it definitely was the Leia shooting event to go down in the garbage can and saying, screw y'all have no idea what you're doing. I'm going to go this way now. So it represented Leia to the highest extent, I would think, as what we could do with Carrie Fisher's death.
Yeah, like there's nobody, like for people can give JJ a lot of shit, but like his handling of Leia, piecing that in and building scenes around her, like that's like, come on, man, like, you got to take your hat off for that, because he made it work and he still made her death feel emotional and stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know. So sorry. I just wanted to say that, yeah.
And you could have killed her off screen. You could have done whatever, but to have her be on screen as something that has been not necessarily the highlight of Carrie's work, but definitely something that meant a lot to Carrie, and especially going into hearing Ryan talk about how, okay, Carrie saying, okay, the next one is mine. It has to be mine. She needed to be represented on screen desperately. And so I'm very thankful JJ got her on screen.
One of the best parts of the Rise of Skywalker was Chewie breaking down when she finally goes, and like he's lost all of his extended family. Like there's some good. I mean, like I said, they had to make it work stuff, but like Rise of Skywalker, like I said, there is some good stuff in all the movies. Even if you don't like it, like I said, you can find good stuff and good moments out of it. Just overall, in my opinion, the sequel trilogy was a bigger dumpster fire than anything else we've had, other than Resistance. Go down in history as like give me the holiday special and the Ewok movie all day over Resistance, because that's just me personally. I don't know, just whatever. But like, I don't know, guys. I love Star Wars. I hope you keep listening to us, because I know I sound like I'm just shitting on things. I'm not, because I do want stuff to come in. I love Rogue One. Solo, I had no problem with Alden Ehrenreich or what's his name, Joe Sana. I can't say the new Chewbacca's name. His name is so hard. I gotta hear somebody else say it first. Yeah, I gotta hear somebody else say it first, and then I can make it. But I love those two together. I thought they were great. I hope we get to see them show up in the Cassian Andor series. I would love to see that. Bring Donald Glover back as Lando too. Like, let's get them back on there. Let's get these guys. I thought they were a great cast. And Solo is an underrated movie. It may not be super high up on my list, but that is a great, just throw it in, flick it, you can watch it, and it's just it's a good, that's a good movie.
If you want Star Wars and you don't feel like diving into the middle of a story, Solo is the movie to go for.
You know what? That's perfect, because you got some familiar characters, some familiar beats in it, but it's an easy ride with like some good. Like that train heist in the beginning of Solo, that's some good shit.
Yeah.
That is some really good shit. I don't know. Like, I'm very excited for what's coming. And even one of the best things I heard on the Mandalorian Gallery is Taika Waititi, which I will admit, Thor Ragnarok didn't necessarily do it for me. And that season finale of The Mandalorian, I really liked because it's good stuff. In my opinion, Taika exaggerated humor is a little much for me, but so the Stormtrooper thing went on a little bit much for me. But he's great at action. The do the magic hand thing, baby, and Baby Yoda just wave at him, like that's perfect humor. And like he said on there, he's got Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau could help keep him in the lines. And I think as long as he has somebody do that with whatever characters he chooses to bring to life in his movie, which I'm really hoping it's like 4,000 years ago, and it's Revan and Bastila, and we find out that they were the first dyad in the Force, because rip, that would be fucking awesome. Anyway, that's even just whatever. But whatever he does, like I think it's his sensibilities really do fit the Star Wars universe, and as long as he's got somebody there to help, like he even said himself, not let him get too far outside the lines. Like I think he could potentially bring something special, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. On that note, though, I think it's time to tell people where they can find you, Nathan.
You can find me on Twitter at WobblyBoots85 and DC Alliance at DC Alliance on Twitter, because myself and Greg will be or are doing at this point when this comes out are doing a DC-centric show that we'll be talking about whenever things do eventually get going, and whenever there is. We'll be talking about news around the DC comic book characters and rumors, and we'll be doing film reviews and talking about how much we love Man of Steel and BVS. Cause yes, guys, I mean we're open to other opinions, but we like that stuff. But it's a place where we're just going to shoot the shit about DC stuff. We love these characters. We're not people that are going to get butthurt if you got a different opinion. Okay, I might get a little butthurt, but it's all in good fun. Greg's great. He'll listen to it, but no, like we're going to be there. It's going to be a good time. We just want to talk. About the Godfather of of this comic book genre. Superman, Batman, and the building blocks for everything else. And where can they find you, Katie?
So you can find my personal Twitter on Twitter, obviously, at KGilstrap13. You can find this podcast at Star Wars Alliance without without the A in the wars, because Twitter only lets you have so many characters in a username. You can also find me at Slice of Film 1, where the rotating podcast with this, because this podcast is bi-weekly.
The sexiest of weekly. We know this.
So that podcast has already had its first episode by the time this one releases. And next week on Thursday, you will find Slice of Film 1. We're going to be talking about Driving Mrs. Daisy. Great film.
Nice.
Highly recommend. And of course, you can find all of your Geek Ultimate Alliance podcast networks on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. I will, of course, have everything listed in the description box below of your favorite podcast site. If we're not playing at your favorite podcast site, let us know. We'll get that figured out.
Can be there.
So, yeah, if y'all have any questions, want us to hit something in the next episode, or probably not the next episode because we'll be anyways, details. But if you have something you want us to hit in an episode, just kind of shoot Star Wars Alliance a DM on Twitter, and we'll get it in the schedule. So, anyways.
And with that, we'd like to leave you with Palpatine Moss Maida 2020. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we'd like to leave you with a May the Force be with y'all, because I got to throw a Southern twang in there. And we will see y'all in 2 weeks.
This is the way.
This is the May.